Hello everyone, welcome to this session on metrics and analytics of marketing. Today we are diving into this lecture 4 of week 3 where we will be discussing about a framework called AAU. AAU stands for Awareness, Attitude and Uses. We will also discuss about another two metrics called customer satisfaction and willingness to recommend. We will cover the key concept with some of the real Indian examples to make the session relatable to our participants. So, let us move. Moving to our first main topic, that is the AAU matrix. As I said that it stands for awareness, attitude and uses. These are crucial metrics in the hierarchy of effects model. Which explain how consumer moves from not knowing a product to becoming a loyal customer of the product or the brand. In one of our previous sessions, we discussed about the marketing funnel, if you remember correctly. Basically, this marketing funnel describes the customer journey starting from awareness to loyalty. This AAU framework also works in the similar fashion. Basically, it identifies, it recognizes various stages associated with a customer journey. Like first the customers will probably encounter an advertisement, maybe they will become aware about the product and they will form certain set of attitudes for the product, and then ultimately either if they intend to buy the product and actually buy the product, they will use the product, and after that post purchase behavior will be portrayed. The AAU studies help us quantify the customer knowledge, customers' perceptions, customer beliefs, intentions and behaviors. So, these are the aspects that can be captured under the AAU framework. These are often called tracking data because they track changes over a period of time in the customer journey. For instance, you can think about the Amul butter in India. Their famous ads with that famous Amul girl. All of us remember that famous Amul girl. AAU studies could track how aware Indians are about the Amul brand, their attitude towards the quality of Amul, and how often they buy Amul brand as compared to their competitors such as Mother Dairy. So, these metrics are most useful when compared to benchmarks like prior periods and some prior instances or some prior competitors. In India, during the IPL session, brands like Tata uses the AAU matrix, AAU framework to see if their ads boosted the awareness against their rivals or not. Basically, the AAU questions reveal acceptors and rejectors. So till the last sessions we had been discussing about some of the metrics which are absolute and quantitative in nature. This AAU matrix is perceptual in nature, which are measured in terms of certain set of predefined questionnaires. So, it is done through certain set of surveys. So, basically the AAU matrix questions the respondents to understand whether they will be acceptors or rejectors. Let us take an example. In an Indian smartphone market, why do some prefer OnePlus while rejecting the Samsung? So, this information can be captured through certain set of reliable and valid questions. Another example is how do customers react to replaying a Flipkart Big Billion Day advertisement? So, what is the customer reactions when they see the Flipkart Big Billion Day advertised for the second time? Now, let us look at how we construct the AAU matrix. So, now let us look at how we construct the AAU matrix. So, here is a table breaking it down into three components, three types basically, three hierarchies, that is the awareness, attitude and uses. So, awareness, as I said, that awareness is related to knowledge. If you become aware about something, then you become a bit knowledgeable. Then your attitude is related to beliefs and intention, and uses is related to purchase habits and loyalty. So, for awareness and knowledge, questions like have you heard of brand X, or what brand comes to mind when you think about, let us say, luxury car. In India, for luxury cars it might be what comes to mind for luxury SUVs. Often it can be, the answer can be the Mahindra Thar or the Tata Harrier for many middle class families. Attitudes cover the beliefs and the intentions, as you can see in the table. So, the questions might be, is brand X for me? Because we are talking about attitude about a product or about a brand. So, the first questions that will be in place is brand X for me? Or rate on a scale of 1 to 5 if it is for young people. We can take the example of Patanjali. So, attitude might reveal if consumers see them as a natural and Indian versus foreign brands like Colgate. So, what is Indian people, what is the perception of people regarding the Patanjali brand? Are they considering it as a ethnic brand? Are they considering it as a make in India brand? Are they considering it as a local brand, or they are considering it just as a marketing gimmick? So, this forms the attitude about a particular brand or a product. Now, lastly, the uses includes purchase habits and loyalty. The questions related to uses can be, did you use brand X this week, or what brand did you buy last? So, these are the questions through which we can actually capture the uses of a product or a brand. For tea in India, did you buy Tata tea or Brook Bond last? The questions can be something like this, in order to understand the uses of a brand. So, we build this through certain set of surveys. We design these questionnaires, we validate these questionnaires, we form the survey, and we ultimately distribute the survey to capture the required questions related to awareness, attitude and uses. Next, we will dive deeper into the awareness and knowledge. We measure the levels like it can be either aided, which is also called the prompted, or the unaided, whether the customers can remember about your brand through certain aid or without any aid. So, a questions related to aided, this one, aided check is, have you heard of Mercedes? The customers, probably the Mercedes brand was not in the mind of the customers, but the moment somebody asks you, have you heard about Mercedes, then if the customers have heard about Mercedes, the answer will be yes. This is a aided question. There can be an unaided question, something like, which brands come to your mind when you think about personal vehicle? Then in that case, the person should be able to remember about the brand name without any aid. In India, for electric vehicle, unaided might bring the Tata Nexon EV or the Mahindra, recently launched Mahindra B6 XEV9, when they are asked the questions regarding the EV brands in India. There is another concept called the top of the mind. It is all about the first brand recalled by the customers when asked about a product category. For instant noodles, what is the first brand that comes to our mind? At least for me it is Maggi, and I am pretty sure that for many of you it is just Maggi, right. So, Maggi is in the top of the mind for customers like me. Then another concept which is called the ad awareness. So, ad awareness is related to the advertisement, then top of the mind is actually related to the brand. So, how many know a brand's advertisement like Jio's Digital India campaign. How many people know about the Jio's Digital India campaign? It was so popular that even in rural India, people knew about this particular campaign. Then comes this brand or product knowledge. Are you only encountered with a advertisement, or you also become aware about the product and product features? Specific beliefs, example, is Himalaya shampoo chemical free? There can be two things here. One is, because you have heard this name Himalaya, you perceive that it is chemical free, or there can be a possibility you actually dive into the ingredients of the product and come to know that it is chemical free. So, surveys can show the percentage. Similarly, during Diwali, firecracker brands like Shivakasi use awareness metrics to see if their eco-friendly ads are working. Famous example, Maggi recovered post 2015 crisis via awareness tracking. So, there was a big crisis for Maggi when there was a news spread regarding the contamination of lead in the ingredients, then it faced a crisis situation. So, it came about the crisis via awareness tracking. Then let us move to attitude. So, what is attitude? This is about what consumers believe and feel about your brand or about your product. It is a mix of cognition and emotion. Basically, the attitude measures the perception. How do you feel? Whether your feeling is positive or negative. So, measures of attitude include the rating from 1 to let us say 7 in Likert scale. So, the questions can be, this brand is for people like me. You rate it in a scale of 1 to 7 or 1 to 10. For Zomato in India, urban youth might rate high for convenience of food. So, this is how the attitude can be measured. So, we need to dive more into the construct and we need to dive more into the questionnaire designs, whether we are actually capturing the data related to attitude or not. So, some of the proxies or some of the antecedents that can be used for attitude are, let us say the first one is the perceived value for money. So, does this represent good value? Like Airtel versus Jio. Jio often wins the race when it comes to values, especially in service. Perceived quality. Attitude is also related to, you will form the attitude through perceived quality. So, compare a category, let us say Amul cheese versus imported cheese. Indians often esteem Amul for patriotism or for more trust on Amul as a overall brand. Then another this one variable can be relative perceived quality, brand versus other brand. In soaps, Dove might score higher than Lux on skincare. Then comes the purchase intention. Purchase intention means how likely are you to buy a brand. So, post COVID intention for immunity boosters like Dabur Chyawanprash, it spiked. They understood the benefit and they intended to purchase this particular product. When we talk about our Indian brands like Patanjali, the rise was attitude driven. Believe in Ayurvedic purity, appeal to health conscious Indians. So, Patanjali took the leverage of that. So, can you also just think about your last phone buy? What attitudes actually influence your decision? You just think about it and try to relate it to this framework. Next, we will discuss about the third component, which is the usage component. Usage basically tracks the purchase frequency, the units, timing and place. We will be from usage component of this matrix, we will be able to understand who tried our product, who tried our brand, who adopted our brand or who rejected our brand after evaluation. Questions related to usage can be, what toothpaste did you buy last? How many times in the last year you bought this toothpaste? Or do you have a crest at home? This can be very dynamic in nature for e-commerce like Flipkart and Amazon. Users metrics showed a spike during the festive season. Then another things that we need to take into consideration is that who are our adopters and who are our rejecters, and why did they reject our brand. So, one example that we can related example that we can cite is that some Indians will reject the Chinese phones like Xiaomi post border tensions. If there is a tension in the border, then probably many Indians will tend to, let us say, buy some other brands over any Chinese brand. So, basically this aggregate AAU gives insights into brand relationship. Examples that we can take in the context of India is for biscuits, the Parle's high usage reflects loyalty across socio-economic strata, right. So, this is about this AAU matrix. Now, we will look into this, what is the primary purpose, what is the purpose of AAU matrix. Primary purpose is to track trends in attitude and behavior, which is linked to hierarchy of effects. The sequence goes like this: awareness, attitude and uses. Customers become aware about a product, they form attitude about the product or the brand, and then ultimately they will purchase the product, they might patronize the product, they will become a loyal customers if the product performance is exceeding their expected satisfaction. So, in case of Swachh Bharat campaign, awareness was regarding the cleanliness, attitude was regarding the hygiene, and usage was products like Dettol, products like some cleaners. So, this is how we form this attitude, awareness and awareness, attitude and uses. We must remember that though in traditional cases that the sequence goes like awareness, attitude and uses, in some of the cases the last two components can be just reverse one, like we first use the product and then we form an attitude about the product. So, this can also be a scenario, but in less of the cases. Basically just looking at that AAU matrix, AAU tracks the long term changes, helping adjust the strategies for the managers. The examples that we can cite is that Make in India boosted awareness of local brands, improved attitude and uses of the local brands. Next, we will move into our next matrix, which is called customer satisfaction and willingness to recommend. Satisfaction is rated on service like 1 to 5 scale or 1 to 7 scale, maybe from very dissatisfied to very satisfied. Satisfaction focuses on customer needs, wants, desires and perception of the product performance. So, before purchasing the product, you have certain need, you have certain want, you have certain desire, you set certain expectations out of the product. After uses, you will have a perceptions about the performance of the product. So, satisfaction is the difference of these two. Whether your perception about the perception of performance of the brand is greater than equal to your initial expectations from the brand. If it is greater than equal, then either you are satisfied or delighted. If it is lesser, then probably you are a dissatisfied customer. So, this is how the satisfaction can be purviewed in our mental framework. Next one is the willingness to recommend. It is the next stage after satisfaction. Satisfied customers refer others and the others might purchase your brand because they have heard some good news from their referral group. So, it is a powerful in country like India via word of mouth, because India is a community driven culture. So, we are associated with our peers very closely, we are associated with our family members very closely, we are associated with our classmates very closely. So, if we find something satisfied, then probably we will spread positive news about that particular brand. We can take the example of Ola cabs. High satisfaction leads to recommendation even in the tier 2 cities. This table shows the scale. In Indian hotels like Taj, they use this kind of feedback mechanism. So, they will collect the data regarding various features associated with the hotel, hospitality industry. How was your experience in terms of check-in? How was your experience in terms of comfort in the room? How was your experience in terms of amenities available in the room? How was your experience in terms of ambience of the hotel? How was your experience in terms of the behavior portrayed by the employees of the hotel? So, you must have experience in online platform also, you must have experienced certain pop-ups that you get for rating a particular app. So, this is nothing but measuring the customer satisfaction. Now, we will look into the purpose of customer satisfaction and willingness to recommend. So, primary purpose, if I look at the primary purpose, satisfaction indicates future purchases and loyalty, and that is why it is extremely important. They talks about your future revenue better than the current sales for predictions. Many research, many studies link satisfaction to retention. Willingness to recommend is the key, like net promoter score. So, net promoter score, I think in one of our previous classes we have already cited about it. We will have a detailed discussion about net promoter score in the next class. But willingness to recommend, basically it basically give rise of the better net promoter score. In India, banks like HDFC track this. High NPS means the loyal customers. It is basically a leading indicators. We can also look into after the Jio's launch, satisfaction with data speeds boosted loyalty, hurting the competitors even. So, this is the primary purpose of this matrix, customer satisfaction and willingness to recommend. Now, let us have a quick look at the construction of customer satisfaction and willingness to recommend. How do we construct this variable, or how do we construct this matrix? So, satisfaction is percentage of customers exceeding the expectations. Where the product performance is exceeding the customers expectation, for how many customers? Let us say there are 100 customers, out of 100 customers 80%, for 80% the product is performing as per the expectation or it is exceeding expectations. So, in that case the customer satisfaction is 80%. It is measured individually, but reported at an aggregate level. So, for each of this individual we will try to look into whether their expectation is met by our product performance or not. It can include various dimensions. Dimensions means the features associated with the product, such as the in case of hospitality industry, it can be the front desk of the hotel, then behavior of the employees, then comfort level, availability of various amenities. Next one is the willingness. So, willingness to recommend is basically the percentage of people who want to recommend your product or brand in their network. In case of India, retailers like Myntra survey post purchase. After the purchase, they will conduct a survey among the customers. let's say they will ask the customers to rate between 1 to 5 on satisfaction, or they will ask the customers whether they are intending to recommend their peer groups for this product. Let us have a look at one example. So, this is an example from a hotel, let us say Delhi based hotel, Quebec Hotel. Imagine a Delhi hotel manager surveys 220 guests, and out of this 220 data points, 200 are usable. The responses may look like this, you can just see in the table. 3 are very dissatisfied, which is 1.5%, 7 are somewhat dissatisfied, which is 3.5%, 40 are neutral, they are neither dissatisfied nor satisfied, that is 20%, 100 are somewhat satisfied, kind of okay for them, it met their expectations, which consist of 50%, and 50 are very satisfied, which is 25% of the total population. So, we can also see that this top two boxes, I mean if we look at it from a satisfaction point of view, these top two boxes are basically the satisfied customers. So, what is the satisfaction value in as per this survey is considered? It is 75%. So, 75% of our customers are satisfied. Many hotels in India like Taj Hotel, they used to conduct this kind of surveys in order to ensure the service quality, right. So, this is how it is done. So, in this example, the someone satisfied population must be calculated as the total usable response pool less customers accounted for elsewhere. So, 200 minus 3 minus 7 minus 4 minus 40 minus 50 equal to 100, right. So, this is how many service sector industries, many service sector companies used to conduct the survey in order to understand the satisfaction and willingness to recommend. So, this was about today's session. So, basically what we have covered the AAU framework and satisfaction matrix with Indian examples like Amul, Jio and Taj Hotels. So, these tools basically help the marketers to win the hearts, mind and the markets. Thank you for joining for today's sessions. I will see you in the next session on some other metrics such as the net promoter score. Thank you.